Look at the sheer volume of text dedicated to this one life. Yet, even with this scrutiny, we find an 18-year hole in the historical record. The Gospel of Luke places him here at the Temple of Jerusalem, debating scholars at the age of 12. After that event, the narrative goes dark. He emerges in the Jordan River at age 30, appearing as a radical teacher ready to begin his public ministry. This massive historical vacuum birthed wild, intense curiosity, forcing humanity to guess how an obscure boy transformed entirely. To find the truth, we are tracking 3 geographic radii. We will move from the far reaches of Asia down to regional movements, and finally into his own hometown. Understanding these missing years reveals the internal engine behind the movement he led later in life. We start with the most expansive hypothesis, the Far East theory. This path follows the Silk Road out of Judea and across the continent to India and Tibet. In the 19th century, Nicholas Notovich claimed Jesus spent his silent years studying Buddhism under monks in these Himalayan complexes. The idea gained traction because of the parallels between Eastern asceticism and Jesus' later focus on nonviolence and the rejection of material wealth. However, historians have found no credible evidence for this journey, and Notovich's accounts were eventually discredited as fabrications. The India hypothesis highlights a modern desire for exotic origins, reflecting our own curiosity more than first-century reality. Shifting the radius back toward the Middle East brings us to the isolating environment of the Judean desert. This region was home to the Essenes, an apocalyptic Jewish sect that lived in voluntary exile to prepare for a coming divine judgment. Evidence of their intense religious focus remains in the Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in the caves at Qumran. These scrolls emphasize purity, the rejection of riches, and a coming apocalypse, themes that reappear in the sermons Jesus preached at age 30. While these parallels are strong, we have no direct proof that he ever formally joined their community. Even without a formal link, the Qumran evidence shows he lived in a region defined by radical, anti-establishment religious thought. Let's look at the records from his hometown. The original Greek texts use the word kekton, a term identifying a day laborer or a stone builder. This role required grueling physical labor. He spent those 18 years moving heavy stones and working in the heat of the sun. The most likely source of work was Sepphoris, a booming Roman metropolis located just 4 miles from Nazareth. These exhausted laborers faced extreme daily humiliation and endured crushing economic taxation forced upon them by occupying Roman imperial forces. Living as an impoverished builder in this environment provides a direct context for his later focus on the poor and his critiques of power. While myths of globe-trotting journeys are tempting, the historical evidence points to a life grounded in the struggles of Galilee. These years are missing from the record because the daily survival of a first-century peasant was rarely considered worthy of documentation. The desire to fill this void reveals a modern discomfort with the idea that significant change can begin in unglamorous obscurity. The silent years provided the unrecorded crucible where a revolutionary worldview took shape.